Paula, thank you very much. So of course, everybody knows about the school, but since you're the expert and you're the gatekeeper, can you tell us more about the school and the program history? Because maybe that people know about ranking, but they don't know when the school was created, when the MBA was created, the history of the school, and so on and so forth. So if you can help us.
Hello, Dr. Hubert. It's a pleasure to be here again. So a little bit of IESE's history. We are based in Barcelona, our beautiful Barcelona. We were one of the first 2-year MBA here in Europe. I don't know if you know, but Europe has a history of having shorter MBA programs. IESE was the first 2-year MBA program. It was created in 1956, so we already have a long history. And the MBA was the first program to be launched. We are the business school of the University of Navarra, and we now have we've evolved to have a very extensive portfolio for the different stages of someone's career. But the MBA still is the flagship program of IESE, being ranked number 3 in the Financial Times in the world in the last ranking, and has been historically top ranked for several reasons. And we now have not only Barcelona campus, but we have another big campus in Madrid with a new building that was launched in 2020. We also have a campus in Munich, a campus in New York, and a campus in São Paulo, where I used to be based from 2016 to 2020 after graduating from my MBA.
Okay, very good. Now, you mentioned your portfolio. So you have the MBA, EMBA, MIM. What are the programs that you have, all the programs that IESE has, Paula?
So in terms of the degree programs, this means that a program that you actually have a diploma when you graduate. So we start with the Master in Management that are for the non-experienced or very little experienced students. So this is from 0 to 2 years. This is in our Madrid campus. It lasts 11 months, and it is full-time. Then we move on to having the MBA that is based here in Barcelona. You can graduate in either 15 or 19 months. And you have the possibility of going on international modules that are electives from IESE. And this year, we're going to offer New York, São Paulo, Mexico, India, Nairobi, and China and Hong Kong. So this year, we're going to be offering 6 modules. And you also have the possibility of going on an exchange to another business school. So you still get a very, very international experience in a very international and diverse cohort. And then the Executive MBA is a part-time program that also lasts 19 months. We have the One IESE EMBA that we call that. It's because we have classes going on in Barcelona, in the Barcelona campus, the Munich campus, the Madrid campus, and the São Paulo campus. They are independent, but sometimes they cross and they follow the same schedule and curriculum. And it's for a bit more experienced people. I think that the average age is around 32, 34 years old. You do it twice a week, so Fridays and Saturdays. Depending on the campus that you are, it can be every week or bi-weekly. And depending where you are, also the language changes. It can be Spanish, it can be English. In Brazil, we do trilingual, so you have English, Spanish, and Portuguese. And Munich, I think that it's 100% English. And then the Gamba is our most senior degree program. This is for people that have at least 14 years of work experience. It's a blended program by design. So this means that even before the pandemic and we were talking about virtual learning, the Gamba was already a program that the teams and the students would meet virtually during the year. And then there were some international modules that they would all come to a city and have in-person classes. And this is still how it happens in different cities of the world. It's a very, very selected group of people. I think that the class now has 30 to 40 students. And it's usually people with very relevant and already impactful careers, like country managers, C-levels, and a very international cohort as well.
Alors, Paula, you mentioned that you're yourself an MBA graduate, and before you used to work for the São Paulo office. So what brought you to come back to Spain and to manage the IESE admission?
Yes. So when I graduated, so I'm originally from Brazil. Before the MBA, I was working with consulting. And the reason why I decided to do an MBA was precisely because I wanted to change career and do something more impactful that drove me more, that I had, like more passion for doing. So that's why I decided to do an MBA for a career shift, which is very common in the MBA world. So the road was very bumpy. I tried many things, and I ended up doing my internship with a professor that was involved in an educational NGO back in Brazil. And then I realized that education was my true passion. And then one thing led to the other. I started working for IESE. I was doing admissions in Latin America, so that's why I was based in São Paulo, and I would travel around recruiting people to do the MBA at IESE here in Barcelona. So after 4 very happy years, I was promoted. And then after being promoted as head of admissions, I moved to Barcelona, and I've been here for the past 3 years and a half. Decided to stay, build a family. So now I have a baby boy who's Spanish, and we'll be here for an indefinite amount of time, probably.
Okay, yeah, probably. Now, so basically, Paula, you know that you have a great, of course, approach of education at IESE. But if I'm here today, it's because IESE is well ranked. If you are ranked number 200, I will not be here, unfortunately. And because, of course, IESE is known because of its ranking. Okay. Now, how do you explain that IESE is so well ranked in the FT, because you ranked number 3 after Colombia and in SEAD? How do you explain the success of the program, which is global success?
So some elements, I think it's always, when we're talking about rankings, it's always important to know what are the elements that are being tracked in each of the rankings, right? Because each provider or publisher has different criteria. So what in the previous year we were ranked number 10, so we jumped from 10 to 3, and it was because some of the new elements that FT started tracking were elements that IESE was already delivering, because these were factors that we already believed, and it was part of our mission. So ESG was something that started being ranked, and we've been. We have an Institute for Sustainability, and we've been already delivering on sustainable initiatives for many years as a school, as a teaching institution, and also as a company. So this was one. The Financial Times also started tracking diversity in terms of backgrounds and nationality, and also career aspiration. And yes, it is a very diverse school. We're not known to be one specific, or we're pigeonholed in any sort of industry or nationality. So we are. It is truly diverse. And other elements that we've already been high ranked historically have been student satisfaction. So actually one of the highest. Corporate social responsibility is also something that we've been number 1 for a couple of years in a row. And teaching quality is also high ranked. I think that all this speaks to the high level of commitment that we have with the on-campus experience for our students. IESE is a very academic-driven school. The case method is the central point of the experience. And we believe that the almost 2 years that the students spend here on campus can be very transformational, and we want it to be as deep as it can. So we put a lot of effort and a lot of investment in making the on-campus experience truly transformational. And I feel that translates into the high level of satisfaction and teaching quality that we have.
Now, tell me, Paula, has the ranking affect the recruitment policy? Have you seen more people applying? Are you now more picky? Tell me.
Yes, we've seen more traffic, definitely. So more requests, more people coming. This year we already started the first round. It's been good for us. We've changed a little bit because we used to have an early round and a round one. This year we decided to merge both of them. So we wouldn't be comparing pairs to pairs directly, but it's been a good year. But something that we've also seen is that many people are actually waiting for the GMAT focus to come out. So if some people have deferred their application to round two, so we are expecting a very busy round two, and round one was probably on par with previous years.
Okay, yes, which is good because of course many people postpone. So that's the thing. So tell me, you mentioned diversity of your students. So tell me, is there a typical student, or who are you student in general? Okay, I understand there's no typical student, but who are you student in general? Can you give a portrait of who are your students? For instance, the 2024 class. Who are they? Where do they come from in general?
So we obviously have the big majority being the very typical MBA profiles. I'm not going to lie. So many of them are business graduates or economists or engineers. That is the big bulk. Many come from consulting, finance, big techs. So this is the majority, I'm not going to lie. But more than the other schools where this big majority is really a huge majority, we have diversity in terms of people coming from social sciences, people coming from non-business backgrounds at all. This week I was talking to an actor that was interested in pursuing his MBA with us. So we get these very different profiles that we never discriminate against. On the contrary, we actually, exactly because we use the case method, that is a methodology that relies on people's different backgrounds and experiences and different points of view. Having someone with such a diverse experience and a completely different way of seeing the world will actually contribute a lot to the class. So we do have some exotic profiles, let's put it like this, that gives some taste to the class and to the classroom discussion.
Yeah, by the way, when I was in the cafeteria this morning, I met Usman. You know, with Usman from Ghana, and so Usman has an incredible profile because he migrated from Ghana. It took him 5 years to come to Europe. I'm sure that you know about him. He started his studies when he was 17 years old. I will write an article about him because his background is absolutely impressive. Usman from Ghana, you will read. I will send you my article.
Okay.
Write this weekend. Now, basically, Paula, I understand that there's diversity, but you see our students, half of the students of MBA Center are from India, the other half from the rest of the world. So can you tell us some more tips? So what are you looking for in students when you recruit? What are the top 5 things that, according to you, will really matter? Because I'm sure that you have criteria. I don't know if they are very different from the others, but what are the top 5 things that you have a look at when you receive an application?
Yeah. So as you said, there are some things that every top business school is looking for, right? And we cannot escape that. We are looking for people with an excellent and successful track record. So people that have proved and that they are high performers and they had a big or fast career progression. They had good companies in their CVs, good universities, a good academic performance, right? So this is what I call the hygienic factors, because it's what everybody is looking for. High GMATs or GREs, right? This is also proves academic potential of the candidates. But there's another part that we are looking for. So let's say, if you want 5, let's list. So career, academics, test scores. So let's use 3 for that. And then let's keep 2 that probably have higher or as relevant as the 3 of them together. That is the cultural fit, right? So at IESE, we are this mission-driven school that we exist because we believe that the world could be better if we had better leaders leading companies, and people that would be more responsible about their decisions, and the impact that has in society, people, and in the environment. So this is what we are trying to form, leaders that will be responsible. So we want candidates that fit this culture, right? That believe in this, that they want to dedicate their careers to creating more impact. So this cultural fit will be very, very important for us. That's why we have a very high touch admission process. Most of my admission officers know their candidates very well. They're very available, very approachable. If you want a one-to-one with them, you can probably get it. So it's important to stay close so you can show your true self and we can know you from a personal perspective. But I would say that the 2 elements is culture and values, right? So if you fit the culture and if you have the values, this is going to be fundamental for you to be admitted into IESE.
Yes, probably. Yes, it's most likely. What is your policy regarding tests? Because of course, that's something that scares students. As you may know now, some schools accept the EA, some schools have waivers. Yesterday, the student was applying to MIT who told me that there would be a waiver this year. I don't know what she meant, but I got a mail from MIT saying that. What is your policy? Because there's been a lot going on in this field. Also, the tests themselves have changed. But first of all, let's start with that. As you know, the test makers are now working on making the test easier. As you know, on the GRE and the GMAT is easier than before. Do you think it's a good direction?
I think yes, I do think it's a good direction. I think that they also need to make sure that they are keeping themselves relevant, right? I think that the whole point and the purpose of having standardized tests is that the math behind the score is actually representative or predictive of the academic performance of that student, right? So we want to be able to, from reading a score, translating that into a future potential, right? I think that if you want to make it easier, it's great. I think that it's almost necessary, especially because the MBAs are getting a bit older. And as you get a bit older, you have more responsibilities. Maybe you have a family. So if at least you shorten the studying time, which I know that this is also like the making it easier is also to make the preparation easier or shorter. But to make sure that it's not going to lose quality in the assessment aspect of the tests. But yes, I do agree that it's good because we do have other ways to assess, and especially for us, I think that maybe in the US they're a bit more obsessed with GMATs and GREs and test scores. Here we can allow ourselves to read beyond the test score, exactly because we know our candidates so well. So we don't need it to be so precise, or it's not a bloodbath in terms of GMATs or GREs for us. So I think that at the end it's good. It's something very stressful for candidates. I remember that I studied for almost a year for the GMAT. So I think that if we can make it a bit lighter, it's good,
Okay. Company, you want to make it lighter, but at the same time, you don't want to compromise, so you will not give waivers, or you will not
no, we don't give
accept the
waivers.
EA.
Yeah,
We
we're
don't
not
accept
accepting the
assessment.
executive assessment, at least not so far. It is an ongoing conversation, but we haven't reached the final agreement. But for now, we only take GMATs, GREs. We don't do waivers. The most we can do is some extension. The deadline is here. Something that we always motivate our candidates to do is that if you have a GMAT or a GRE that you're not satisfied with, apply with that score, and then use the length or the duration of the round to study and improve it. So we sort of can go in parallel with the process and the new score, but you don't miss the chance of applying an earlier round. But you do need at least an initial score to be able to apply and your application be considered complete. But even if you have a very low score, I would say apply, and then we can move on with the process while you study to improve it.
So basically, you seem to be quite flexible with students, but you know that since we have 50% of the students who are Indian at MBA Center, what would you advise to Indian students to do? Because I know that you can be probably a bit more strict with Indians. So what do you advise them if they want to increase their odds of admissions, Paula?
It is true. It is the most competitive market in the world, I would say. So it tends to be a bit harder to stand out. I think that being present in the events, I have someone based in India, and she doesn't have bandwidth to do one-to-ones with all the candidates that are out there. But participating in the events, getting to know people from IESE, I think it's important. Alumni, current students, so maybe they can do a referral for you. I know it's a lot of investment and it can be a long shot, but coming to campus can be nice. We do campus tour, and then I'm trying to dedicate my time to greet the people that are coming on campus tour and do a coffee chat with them. So then that's also a way to sort of, okay, that person came to campus and now I remember them. But I understand that it's also a big investment. So if you can't, I think it's just trying to be present, right? Talking to current students, alumni, getting referrals. And obviously, then the GMAT and the GRE can make you stand out on its own, no? I think it's a market that the GMAT and the GRE can be especially important.
Exactly. You mentioned the cost. What is the cost of the IESE MBA? Because you have a 2-year program. And what type of financial aid can students expect to receive if they apply to your program?
So the tuition is now 105,000 for the whole course. We have financing financial institutions that help you fund the MBA. We have partnerships with 2 Spanish banks that can give you loans for the tuition. And we also have partnership with Prodigy Finance that can give you tuition plus living expenses. All of them will ask you, or the maximum loan they will give you is 80%. We already have a 10,000 euro commitment fee that you'll have to pay 4 weeks after you're being admitted. But 20% is going to be the minimum that you're going to need to pay for your MBA. So remember to save money to have at least that. But we have scholarships, and I think that scholarship is always a good way to also ease in the burden a little bit. It's always good to apply. You apply in the normal application form. You have to submit an essay explaining how you plan to finance. So we ask you to be specific on, this is how much savings I have, this is how much loan I would get from family or friends, and this is how much I expect of a scholarship or bank loan. And then why you deserve it, right? So it is, again, a very competitive pool. it's hard to be admitted. It's even harder to get a scholarship. The scholarship is also a mechanism that we have to build the class and the cohort that we're looking for. So if you have the profile that we're missing at that point in time, it's more likely that you get a scholarship, right? The earlier rounds, the scholarships tend to be bigger, right? And then as the rounds go by, we allocate more and more money. So we're a bit poorer every round. So that's why if you can apply earlier, that's better.
Okay. So what would you say to, as a final last words, what would you say to the 20,000 students who prepare the GMAT with us? What would you advise them to do to increase their odds of admission, both for GMIM and GMPA, by the way? No?
So as I said, I think that doing your homework is very important. Something that we appreciate a lot at IESE is because we understand how big of a deal it is to choose your business school and the MBA or the MIM that you're going to do. The MBA has definitely changed my life. I'm obviously an extreme example because I've been working for the school for the past 7 years. I've moved countries, right? My friendships are different. So this is a big deal. So I feel that the candidates should do their homework to get to know the schools that they're applying really well. And this is something that we appreciate a lot at IESE because we are truly trying to find the best matches. So staying in touch, talking to your the admission officer from your region, participating in the events. We have so many virtual events nowadays, and we have so many regional events. Depending on where you're based, you will find in-person events happening that will give a taste of what the IESE community is. So all that will for sure translate into a good and solid application that will make our lives easier, because if you're able to really demonstrate how great you are for IESE, that is just more straightforward for us in the admissions committee.
Okay, so it's a pity that Aman is in Dubai, because he would have come a second time, but I think he followed your piece of advice because he came last May, I think. May, that's June. So thank you very much, Paula. Well, by the way, I'm at IESE today, so we are very close by today, and it's always a pleasure. And of course, to tell you the truth, I could not meet my students today because they have an interview day, the whole day. So they have interviews, okay?
That's
but they
true.
promise I will stay in the cafeteria. They promise to come to meet me before I go back to Madrid. And of course, it's a great pleasure. And MD Center is very, very proud to be welcomed by your school and to send new students, because I can say from experience, because I follow my students, that it's true that academically they are extremely happy, even though the program is very demanding and you have to complete 3 business cases per day. They tell me that at least it makes the class very interesting and very interactive because they know why they come from. And so on the phone, what they tell me, I can see that the fact that we have a 2-year program is really very good in terms of career. So they all mentioned that the fact that unlike, for instance, in SEAD with your competitor, they like the idea that they can have a summer internship, and especially for those who want to make a career change, it's a great thing. Or people coming from abroad as well. We have students coming from India. They want to stay in Europe for some time, and it's true that if you study in an 11-month program, it's very difficult to stay, to make the connections. And I'm, by the way, very impressed because I was talking to 2 Indian students, one who got an offer from IKEA at a very, very good salary, and the other one in an investment bank and Banco Santander. And I think that if they had studied at other schools in Europe, it would not have been possible. And the 2-year program and the quality of the collaboration that you have with businesses allows that. Okay, so thank you very much, Paula, for
thank
your
you,
time.
Dr. Hubert. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.